Welcome back. I played my worst game in a while, and what I was trying to do was play a game while recording to put on the channel, but I lost on time, and I had no idea that I was way ahead according to the computer by the end, but it was my worst game in a while, no matter how far ahead I was. When it comes to blunders, I think I ended up with, can you even see here, yeah, we had 5 mistakes apiece. I had 4 blunders. It was bad. But I started off with the London system and was doing okay, I thought. And then right there, I thought, that's unusual. I don't ever see this Fee and Kettle system, especially after this bishop is here, and certainly not against the London. But that was pretty weird. If they had wanted to play this way, they wouldn't have brought this bishop out. They would have left it back here, put the bishop and knight over here to play the, whatever it's called, King's Indian or Nimzo Indian defense, if you end up playing this. But I didn't know how to punish it, or what to do. The computer says, man, just take that d-pawn right now. I guess I've just been so trained by all the times I've practiced d4 openings that you maintain this tension between these two pawns. If they take you can go for the center, or at least part way, and regain that pawn with your light squared bishop. Usually here in a second you get this knight here, which protects that square, as well as which protects both of these squares, for this advance if they take. But anyway, so that was how I was supposed to punish that g6 move, was taking in here. And it said it wouldn't have even been that bad if I just played e3 here, which is what I did. The game review called that inaccurate, but it was the second recommended move, and I still have an advantage. Okay, well then my opponent followed with this, which was just a flat-out mistake. And again, I thought something was odd about that. I recognized they did it in order to, they wanted to castle queenside. They decided to give up on this plan and changed their mind in between moves and decided to castle this way. Again, the computer says I should take this pawn here. I played like the 5th best move, which is probably what I, should have had a couple of moves ago. Again, this knight here protects this pawn, can recapture there. It also protects a central pawn push. But anyway, and again, I was recording this game thinking, hey, this will be great content. I'm recording a game in real time. So I was drawing arrows and coming up with ideas, and I was like, they're going to castle queenside, and they did. Again, I'm just supposed to capture that central pawn. But I went ahead as like, you know what, I need to castle too. So I just got this light squared bishop out of the way. It didn't like that very much, but I still have an advantage. So far, all of my inaccuracies, and I think that one, it actually called a mistake, weren't as bad as the mistakes that the opponent was making. And so I continued to have a technical advantage. During the game, at this point, I evaluated it as slightly in my favor, just because they had started this plan to Fee and Kettle, but then never carried it out. And I recognized, even though they were moving much faster than I was, it seemed like they were erratic. Like, why did you put this bishop way out here if you just wanted to put it back? And now you're blocking in this pawn, which blocks in this bishop. So I knew that wasn't good. But again, I wasn't sure how to take advantage of it. The computer, if you can see right down here, it wants me to start this queenside pawn attack, starting with b4, and it says no matter what they do on the next turn, I'm just b5, go after this knight. If the knight moves, just go after these pawns. Just charge down there with this b pawn, unprotected b pawn. But now I said I could probably just take this central pawn. And I did, even though the last 2 moves, that's what it wanted me to do, or 3 moves. Now it's like, oh no, that you shouldn't have done that. Surprisingly, the opponent took with the queen, And so, I can challenge here and force the queen to go back. Computer wants the queen to go out to the side, but neither me nor my opponent knew that. And I knew that once the queen got out of the way, that I could push this pawn and fork. The engine doesn't like that at all. If you look at these numbers down here, it wants me to bring the rook to the open file. It wants me to go over here and pin this knight. All kinds of stuff. Oh, even put the queen over here. It likes that too. Well, I saw, hey, there's a pawn fork here. So I went for that. Lost half of my advantage. But it worked. I got a bishop for 2 pawns because that light squared bishop was trapped. So I thought that was worth it. A bishop for 2 pawns. That's the second one. And here I did one of the top engine moves, which was castling. And again, here I was pretty sure I had the advantage. The main thing that the opponent had was this battery. And so I was noticing that this knight is pinned. But that's about all they have. They have 3 pieces that haven't moved at all. They did a fianchetto pawn for no reason. And now they finally decide to do their plan. And it's way too late, of course. But again, I'm not seeing, the computer wants this now, or even this, and it still wants me to put my queen out here. I'm not sure exactly why. Let me just check that real quick. Why does it want the queen out here? Because this pawn's protected. I can't do anything out there. And it just wants them to do that. And then I will do this. I'm seeing the numbers change as the computer makes up its mind. So I'm really not sure what A4 was, queen to A4 was about. But regardless, I did see that my knight protects this square. And so I thought, what if I put my bishop here? Where's the queen going to go? My guess was that the queen would go back again. And this pawn's not guarded. That was my idea. So I did that. And the queen then saw that my bishop was unguarded, so it went after that. So I didn't get to do my plan of taking this free pawn. I had to save this bishop. Right now, that's crazy. The top engine move still wants me to put the queen out here. I don't understand that. Is that just to get it out of this pen? That's the only thing I can think of. It wants me to get the queen out of this pin, and that's a fairly safe spot for it right now. And then the other 2 moves are this and this, which I picked one of because obviously the bishop was hanging. So let's go on. I don't think I've gotten to my blunders yet. Okay. So I protected the bishop. Now they finally completed their fianchetto plan over here. I guess not sure why they did that since they castled on the other side. But it's worth noting here that the opponent is now more than a minute ahead of me on the clock. You can see my clock down there. I'm under 6 minutes. They have almost 7.5. Because they're, again, I'm talking while I'm recording this. Free pawn, right? I saw that because, go back. When that knight moved, see, this whole time, ever since I put my bishop here, I've kept my eye on this pawn. The knight's guarding it. But then when the knight moved, it's like, nothing's guarding that pawn now. But I had to protect my bishop because the knight's not protecting the bishop because of this pen, which is probably why the computer kept telling me to move the queen over there. But anyway, once I protected the bishop and my opponent made no move to protect that A pawn down there, that's when I went and got it. Here, I finally, I see that they're coming for this, so I decided to move this up. The computer says that's a mistake. I definitely should not have done that. Look at that. I'd lose all my advantage, all of it. I guess because it was already double protected. Anyway, When I saw that, I thought, oh, that was a brilliant move. Now my bishop's trapped, just like Bobby Fischer, right? Put his bishop down there on the seventh rank and got it trapped. But then I was like, maybe it wasn't a great move because it opened up this. And that turned out to be exactly why the computer said they thought that was a blunder. This was my biggest advantage of the game right here. And I took advantage of it. My opponent made the best move, which is blocking with the knight. For a second, I hoped they wouldn't see that and they would bring their king out here. Then I could do something like take that knight with check. That would have been cool. But they saw the best move, which is blocking with the knight. In here, I didn't see my best move, which was to, go to one of these spots here, or to keep charging forward with this pawn. But anyway, I sacrificed a bishop. I was like, hey, it worked earlier where I sacrificed 2 pawns for one of their bishops. I was like, now I can sacrifice a bishop for a pawn and clean out this area here. So now I can say check. I don't know where the king's going to go. It goes over there. I make the best move here because now my queen's out of this pin, right? So now I can move that knight. And we move around. That was a blunder, by the way. Yep. What was I supposed to do? I was supposed to go here. I saw that a couple moves later. I just didn't see it right now. Now, as you see on my clock, I'm down to 3 minutes. My opponent still has almost 7 minutes. So they go there. Now I see, hey, this is pretty cool, right? And that pawn's still not protected. But they protect it and challenge my knight at the same time. I should have left it there because it's guarded, right? I have all kind of choices, but I brought it back. Not a good move. That was not a good move on their part. That was pretty good. I thought that was kind of sneaky to come over here and challenge this. And I made the best move. Continuing to protect the rook. Also keeping... I'm trying to line up my heavy pieces toward this, little hidey hole back here that the king is stuck in. My opponent and me both continued to alternate between making the best move and then one of the worst possible moves. Okay. That was one of the worst possible moves in that situation. Okay. And I didn't see this at the time, and neither did my opponent, but they can just take this knight. Because if I take back, now my rook's not guarded. Right? Because the queen is guarding 2 pieces. I wouldn't have seen this because I'm down to 1:40 now. But they could have seen it because they had almost 6 minutes left. If they take this, what happens? I'll take back. Now nothing's guarding this rook. Boom. They get a rook and a knight for a rook. Because at this point, we're even on material. Exactly. Somebody's texting me. What time is it? Oh, I think my kids got on the bus. One of them's letting me know. All right. But anyways, they didn't see that. So they blundered because they could have gotten that extra material. And then I blundered. It's a horrible blunder because now I left the knight completely hanging. So I had just said yesterday or day before I've quit doing these one-move blunders, but I did in this case. But, I'm down to a minute. And I saw it as soon as I did it, but my opponent didn't see it. So they blundered by not taking it. I got it out of the way. Watch my clock down there. I'm under a minute now, so I'm moving fast. Kind of holding everything together with this queen, which is, overworking this poor lady. And my opponent does not find the best move. Look at that advantage. Shoot up for me. But then I did not find the best move either, which is charge forward with this pawn. Yeah, watch my clock. I finally figured out to charge forward with the pawn. That was the wrong move. Yeah, I should have captured. Yep. Says I should have captured, but I didn't. Watch my clock. 24 seconds. I don't know what to do. Oh, they have the advantage? But they lost the advantage. Now I have the advantage. If only I can see queen b3. I'm never going to see queen b3 in this situation. I wouldn't even understand. Why would you want to go queen to b3 at this point? I mean, I won't say never. I might understand that someday, but I'm not going to understand it today. And so then they blundered. And here, I should have seen c5. It says huge advantage if I play c5. Why would I play c5? What does that accomplish? I don't know what that accomplishes. Oh, because they can't take because that rook would be hanging. They can't take with the rook because... Yeah. Anyway, that was it. It says 13 seconds, but I had like 4 seconds on my clock when I thought I should just resign instead of flagging or whatever you call it. So I resigned, and yeah, so one of my worst games in a while, according to the computer. But we'll try again tomorrow. Thanks for watching.